Hello, this is Chris Lee of Southeastern 14 here to preview a couple of SEC baseball series for this week 6 of conference play. We are now at the midpoint of the conference season. We're going to do two Thursday night series. These will each go Thursday to Saturday. First one we will get into is Texas A&M's trip to Alabama, followed by Florida's trip to Vanderbilt. A reminder, our channel brought to you by BetOnline, which is your number one source for all summer sports this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, the NBA, NHL playoffs, all those things you love. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow from your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, we will start in Tuscaloosa, where Alabama comes off a huge win, series win that is, over Arkansas last week. First team to beat Arkansas on the weekend. Texas A&M, meantime, playing as well as maybe anybody in the country. The Aggies just smacked Vanderbilt in College Station last weekend. A&M won its midweek game. Alabama lost it, and we'll see how these teams face off in Tuscaloosa. We'll start with A&M on the hitting side. This team is just incredible. You look at the top three in the lineup. You go Braden Montgomery, who is going to be probably one of the top 10 guys off the board in this coming draft. Their outfielder, who is creating runs at an incredible level, switch hitter, has got 20 home runs already this season. Jace Lavalette bats, I think, one spot in front of him. He's got 18. And Gavin Grohovac, their third baseman, freshman, who is just looks tremendous to me, looks every bit of a high draft pick here in a couple of years. That is their big three in the lineup, but they got some other guys who can hit too. Catcher Jackson Appel, Ted Burton, transfers from Penn and Michigan, respectively. The rest of the lineup not quite as good. Hayden Schott's having a nice year, but those are the guys, and my goodness, they're enough to worry about on their own. But this team can absolutely hit the daylights out of the ball. Grohovac's got 13 home runs as well. So that's three guys with at least 13 home runs. And they go Schott, Kent, and Sorrell are lefties. Montgomery's a switch hitter. So they've got a lot of balance between righties and lefties, with Montgomery being able to go either side of the plate. How does that match up against Alabama? The Crimson Tide have got a lot of lefties too, which is going to be interesting. Zane Adams had a great start last time out against Arkansas. I think he went 7 or 8 innings, maybe pitched shutout ball, if I remember that correctly. Greg Ferrone, the Louisville transfer, also a lefty. So this is a team that's got some lefties to match up against some of A&M's better lefties. I guess actually this team really – you'll probably see Grohovac as a right-handed hitter, Lavalette's a righty, and Montgomery will bat from the right-handed side against a lefty too. So maybe not something that Alabama can kind of turn around, being as lefty-dominated in the rotation against this lineup because of that balance, but nonetheless kind of something to watch. I presume they'll go Adams, Heston, Ferrone on the weekend, and so we will see if Alabama can really keep these guys in the ballpark. They've had some issues doing that. Now, Adams has done a good job, but Hess, Ferrone, Cade Snell, who probably won't pitch. I think he's their midweek guy. Alton Davis, who's their closer. All guys who give up some home runs. That is certainly a thing that A&M can do to you, is hit home runs. Now, on the other side of the matchup, when Alabama's hitting, this is also a lineup that is very, very stacked with lefties. Their best guys, Gage Miller, who's been their best hitter, in fact, one of the best hitters in the league. He's a righty, but the whole rest of the lineup, Will Hodo, Bryce Eblin, Ian Petritz, TJ McCants, Evan Slate, Cade Snell, who I presume will be their DH, all lefties. A&M, on the other hand, has got their first and third starters, presuming they go Ryan Prager and Justin Lampkin, both lefties. So they got a chance to neutralize things a little bit. Prager's just been pitching out of his mind. He's giving up less than a base runner per inning. So is Evan Aschenbeck, who's another lefty they'll bring out of the pen. He's one of those jumbo relievers that they will bring in. He could close a game. He could give them 3 or 4 innings. Shane Sadeo, also a lefty that they'll use a lot. Justin Lampkin, probably their third starter, a lefty. So This is a team that Jim Schlossnagle's got that can go lefty heavy from the mound, which is going to match up pretty well with what Alabama can do. I don't know what the splits look like. Now, Alabama's been a good team at home. This is a team that so far just ended up beating Arkansas in Tuscaloosa last weekend. 2 weekends ago, took 2 or 3 from South Carolina, took 2 or 3 from Tennessee. This is a team that has won all 3 SEC series so far. A&M has played 2 series away from home. One of those was opening weekend of the year when it lost 2 or 3 at Florida. That was probably a different Florida team at the time. And then the other road series for A&M was the South Carolina series. Aggies won the first 2, dropped a close one on Sunday, if memory serves. So, look, predictions. I think A&M has been so good lately. This team is just so complete and balanced. I don't know how else to put it. They defend. They do everything you want them to do. They pitch. They don't allow a lot of base runners. They hit the ball out of the park. Tough to beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa, but I'm going to go with the Aggies in this one. Probably a best 2 or 3 situation. Next up, we'll go to Nashville, where Vanderbilt faces Florida. Vanderbilt coming in had a disastrous weekend last weekend in College Station, losing all 3 to Texas A&M in lopsided fashion. Weekend before, Vanderbilt went on the road and took 2 of 3 at LSU, won the 2 midweeks. In the meantime, Florida really struggling. The Gators got swept at Missouri 2 weekends ago, lost the midweek game to Florida State in pretty lopsided fashion, if I remember that one correctly. Then came home, lost the first 2 games to South Carolina, took the finale, and then beat Jacksonville in the midweek. This is a series that both teams really need. Probably Florida more than Vanderbilt, because the Gators are, 19 and 17 at this point. You've got to be above 500 to get an NCAA tournament bid. And I think if Florida does that, it's probably going to be there, but the Gators are kind of getting dangerously close to that mark. For Florida, I think the pitching has been an issue lately. They'll go righty, lefty, I would presume, with Jack Caglione being the lefty in the 3 spot. Neely and Peterson will get the starts the first 2. They've allowed a lot of base runners. Now they've done a decent job of keeping the ball in the park, or at least Caglione has. Peterson, not so much, but they have struggled to pitch. Luke Minelli is their 4th starter. I don't know if they'll use him at all this weekend. Cade Fisher's their closer. He's been starting some, has been pretty dominant, got a 32% strikeout rate, which is kind of what you want from your closer. They've got talented arms. They just hadn't shown up so far. Vanderbilt's lineup is very, very hit and miss. And this is a lineup that's mostly right-handed heavy. So Florida, again, probably going to go 2 right-handed starters in this one. Not a lot of bats you just really fear. Vanderbilt, I think, is 13th of the 14 teams in home runs. The biggest home run total out of this lineup, Matthew Polk's got 5. And I think Jonathan Vastein's got 5. This is not a team that's going to beat you with a long ball. And that park, of course, Hawken Field, is a pretty friendly pitcher's park. Not a lot of foul territory, but deeper dimensions than some of the other places. Vanderbilt's going to beat you with stolen bases, with stringing hits together. So we'll see if they can do that against Florida. Florida will tend to put guys on base. Free passes have been an issue at times this year, especially out of Neely. Caglione, that's been an ongoing issue for him since he's been at Florida. So Vanderbilt's probably going to try to work counts, get into the bullpen, string together hits in big innings. When Vanderbilt pitches, Vanderbilt's going to go, I would presume, Carter Holton, Bryce Cunningham, Grayson Carter. That's lefty, righty. You could see Vandy go J.D. Thompson, who's a lefty, which might not be the worst idea with Florida's lineup. You got Caglione, a lefty, Colby Shelton, a lefty. Those are probably their 2 best hitters. Ty Evans is probably in that mix too. He's a right-hander. So this is going to be a team that you'll see if Vandy does go 2 righties. Florida is primarily right-handed heavy. I guess, 6 of its 9 guys who are probably going to start are righties, but the better guys are lefties. Caglione, Shelton. You may see Vandy go match up in there. Vandy's got some lefties in his bullpen. I don't know if you'll see Devin Futrell, who started, maybe used in relief. Ethan McIlvain, tough freshman lefty. You'll see him some. Miller Green, freshman lefty. He'll get used some. So you could see Vandy which has got a fairly deep pitching staff, go lefty matchups against some of these guys in some spots, especially late in games. This has always been an interesting series. I feel like Florida under Kevin O'Sullivan has owned it more often than not. Gators on the road this year. Florida has played, let's see, how many road series? They played at South Carolina. They get swept there. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Vandy. Florida has played on the road so far in the SEC. LSU won 2 of 3 there. Missouri lost all 3 there. So it's played 3 of its 5 series at home so far. Vanderbilt's the better team. I think it's got the deeper pitching staff. I think you're worried if Vanderbilt, if you get in a long ball fest with Florida, because that's not the kind of matchup you want to be in. But I think Vandy at home with the deeper pitching staff is the pick. All right, we're going to try to be back and give you the Friday through Saturday series previews. Be sure to look out for those if we get a chance to do them. And, of course, we'll recap everything this weekend and do power rankings at the end of the weekend. I am Chris Lee. This is baseball content presented by BetOnline. Thank you for watching us here at Southeastern 14.